happened with Moses? Get Acts 7:22.
Acts 7 verse 22. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians.
The prophet Moses was learned in all the what?
Wisdom of the Egyptians.
So Moses understood about the ankhs, the exaction of the pyramids and all that. Come on.
And was mighty in words and in deeds.
And in Egypt, Moses was mighty in words and deeds. He was raised up in the house of Pharaoh, a prince. Read.
And when he was full 40 years old.
And when he was full 40 years old.
It came out into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel.
So when he was 40, it moved him to go visit his brothers, the children of Israel. Read.
And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him.
So he saw an Egyptian beating an Israelite. Moses got mad. Read.
And avenged him that was oppressed.
And he avenged the Israelite that was oppressed by the African Egyptian. Come on.
And smote the Egyptian.
And he killed the Egyptian.
For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them.
So now, hold that, give me Hebrews. I think it's chapter 11, around verse
24.
24, thank you. Watch this.
Hebrews 11 verse 24.
Here it comes.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years.
By faith, Moses, when he was come to years of age. Read.
Refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter.
He refused to be called the prince of Egypt. Moses refused to be called the prince of Egypt. So what does that mean? A lot of our people today, we love to be called Africans. We African Americans. But our forefathers said, no, we are not Africans. We are not princes of Egypt.
That's right.
Okay? That's the example we must follow. That's why I go back to Exodus 11 and 7 now, where we were at earlier with the brother reading to you. Come on.
Exodus 11 verse 7.
Here it comes.
But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue.
So the dog here is referring to the Egyptians and the other nations. God says they should not raise their mouth against us. Read.
Against man or beast.
Against man, the children of Israel, or our beasts, our animals. Read.
That ye may know.
That you may know, sisters and brothers.
How that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
Do you hear what God said? Read that again. How that?
That ye may know how that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel.
God made, that's Exodus chapter 11. God made a difference between the Egyptians and the Israelites. Regardless if we look like them, Moses passed for an Egyptian. He said, I'm not African. I'm not Egyptian. The apostle Paul passed for Egyptian. Let's go back to that. Did you know that? Let's get that. Hey, brother read it earlier. Bear with me, Ezekiel. Acts 21:37, around there.
Acts 21 verse 37.
Here it comes.
And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee?
So Paul said to the chief captain of Rome, may I speak unto thee? Read.
Who said, canst thou speak Greek?
So the captain said, can you speak Greek? Because Paul spoke Greek to the captain. Read.
Art not thou that Egyptian?
What?
Art not thou that Egyptian?
The captain said, aren't you that Egyptian, that African?
Which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness, 4,000 men that were murderers.
Come on.
But Paul said,
I
am a man, which I am a Jew of Tarsus.
But Paul said, I'm a man, which am a Jew of Tarsus. So what do the Jews look like?
Tarsus mean?
Tarsus is a city. Okay, it's a city in Greece.
So how did we get to America?
We're going to get to we're going to get that. But I need to,
based on what you're saying, our ancestors went from ancient Israel,
yes,
there, through Africa, and
yes.
where did that exodus
I'm going to
happen?
show you that. Give me a second. I need to know that this young lady,
how did we
you understand
when you get to the Atlantic, you got to cross.
Do you understand what we just read, correct?
Absolutely.
He's going to tell you. Watch this.
Luke 21. Luke 21, start at 20.
Luke 21, verse 20.
Because the brother's question is, where are the Israelites? How did we get into Africa? From Africa to here.
But Israel
and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies.
Now you got to know a little history. When you shall see Jerusalem encompassed by armies. What armies conquered Jerusalem?
Well,
the Romans.
Greeks.
This is the time of Christ now.
Hittites.
Right, this is the time of Christ. So this is Rome. Read it
Ain't all that
again.
happen.
And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies,
Come on.
then know that the desolation thereof is nigh.
Then know that the destruction thereof is near. That's what desolation means. Read.
Then let them which are in Judea
Then you Israelites which are in Judea, read,
flee to the mountains,
flee to the mountains. Go ahead.
What mountain?
and let them which are in the midst of it depart out.
And let them which are in the midst of it depart out. Now, what mountains? Hold that. Get me Matthew 2. That's what the Bible says. Precept must be upon precept. When you read the Bible, you can read it as a novel if you want, but you're only going to get a basic understanding historically. But in order to understand the deepness of it, the mysteries, the parables, whatever, you got to go precept upon precept. So now your question was, what mountains did Christ